Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What on earth happened this week? Well, probably exactly what we said would happen. Here's my one cross, my free ticket. I had 23 pence credit back, which is 15% of the £1.50 I spent. Because I'd done my free ticket plus £1.50, just on the off chance that I might have won. Now my cross there, I had gone a little bit, well, a fair bit higher than the average and further to the left. Because I thought they'd think that this fella in green was looking higher up. I certainly didn't think they'd go that far left and even higher. That's caught me out this way. I didn't think it'd be anywhere near that sort of area. And I thought it would be, I don't know, probably... I thought that the average may have been in about zone 2 or whatever, and I might have been in zone 2, zone 1. I certainly didn't think it'd be all the way over there. But... let's have a look at the judging and see what they did, because we were expecting the judging to be all over the place on the basis that we couldn't figure out where this fella in white was looking. So here's the judging. 7 judges this week. I don't know why there's not 8. There's usually 8. So let's have a look. Not that wide a spread from the player in green, is there? It's quite a narrow spread, and we did say it would be that sort of area anyway going up from there. He wasn't the difficult one. It was a fella in white, though. It was always a tricky one. He could have been anywhere. Actually, I remember drawing a couple of lines and said it would be somewhere between the vertical and about halfway between the vertical and him. And it's sort of, well, that's where they've gone. So the extremes are... I think this one's got to go because it's nowhere near. Is that really a cluster? Because they're spread about all over the place here, isn't it? So that one on the right is going to have to go because it's nowhere near the others. The trouble is then... do you take that top one out there? Well, if you do, you're going to have to take that bottom one out, and then you're left with just 4 judges. I don't think that's really enough, is it, to get a good average there. So if you take the idiot one out, you're going to be left with 6, and I think you've got to go by that. Let's see what they did. Yeah, they've taken Andy Braithwaite's out, which is the one over here on the right. See, they are a lot... Actually, they've taken 2 out there, haven't they, at the moment, so far. They've taken that top one out as well. That is a much closer cluster, but I'm not sure if you're going to take that top one out. Shouldn't you have taken the bottom one out? Let me scroll further to the end, see what they did. Yeah, they've put that other one back in now. They're going to leave it with... they must have had a discussion over it. They usually do. So they've left it with 6 judges, but... still a big spread, though, when you look how far apart they all are for the 6. But then, isn't that what we expected? We said all along this was going to happen, which is why we were only playing... well, most of us were only going to play our free ticket. Anyway, it's all over and done with for another week. Can't change it, can we? Let's have a look at this week's picture. Okay, so I've just got 1 cross in here for now. I always put a cross in, as you know, on a Tuesday, just to get a guideline of where we go through the rest of the week. 9 times out of 10 I'll change it, move it about. It could be a completely different area, who knows. Let's have a look at this picture for a minute. I can't quite figure out what this fella here, Ricky Butcher, do you remember Ricky Butcher from EastEnders? This is where he ended up playing football. Ricky! He's, if I try and draw lines from his eyes, hang on, let me click on draw lines. He's looking quite steep, isn't he? And he's looking sort of... one eye's up there. Why are their eyes always so miles away from each other? The other eye is looking over there somewhere. So I've gone somewhere in the middle. Roughly in the middle. Might be further to the right, further to the left. Who knows? But this fella here, the blind guy... is there anyone there? He looks to me like he's looking past his head, rather. I don't think he's... for a minute he's looking up that high. It looks as though he's looking past his head somewhere. But you can't put it anywhere over there because... Ricky is clearly looking upwards. I mean, you can see from his eyeballs how steep he's looking. And they're more or less central to his eye. So he is looking sort of straight up in front of him-ish. You know what I mean? His head's turned slightly to his right anyway. So, personally, I think, looking at his body language, the ball would be actually closer than where I've put it. But the judges never go that close. So, at the moment... that's where I am. That's where my first cross is. 14791298. And I'll put that in the comments. We'll do the same thing as we always do. So I'll put a comment in there. If you reply to it with your coordinate. We'll make another video Saturday and we'll have a look with the average is, because to be fair, most of the time the average is pretty close to the winning cross. Usually zone 1, occasionally zone 2. All right, this week zone 3, but we were sort of expecting it. But yeah, I can't see how this guy can be looking up in front of Ricky Butcher. It just doesn't make sense. I just don't see that he's looking up there. But then, I mean, it's tricky to put these photos together. When you look at the whole process of what they do with these photos, I mean, some fella goes out on a Saturday or a Sunday with his camera and takes photographs of young men in shorts. Probably one of the Schofield brothers, who knows. And then he has to Photoshop a couple of different players and create a scene against a background. Well, he must submit more than one picture, surely, to BOTB. It's probably 3 or 4 or 5 pictures, or perhaps a whole big batch he submits, and BOTB pick the one they want to use. But how do they make the right decision? Because if it's an easy one, if it's an easy photo, everybody's going to go in the same area. And so are the judges. Which means when it comes to the winner's cross, most of the money they've taken, most people are going to be in zone 1 or zone 2, so they're going to have to pay a huge amount of what they've taken back in credit. And you think, well, yeah, but it's not really cash, it's just credit. Well, okay, yeah, but it's as good as cash, because it means that when people are playing the following week, they're not using cash, they're just using up their credit. Now, granted, they have brought this Friday competition in where they try and buy back everybody's credit with a 10 grand prize, but not everybody does that. And there's still a lot of players going to be keeping the credit until the next week. The other choice, of course, is if you pick a difficult picture, people are not going to play, or they're only going to play 1 or 2 tickets. So how do you make that decision on a picture? Do you pick a good picture? Do you pick a difficult picture? Anyway, I just seem to be waffling now. So that's where I've gone for my first cross this week. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your coordinates are so we can have a look on Saturday where it is. I think, I don't know what to make of the picture. In some respects, I think it's a better picture, as we seem to have a better idea what this player in red is doing. But it doesn't really add up to the player over here on the right, because he just doesn't seem to be looking up that high, although his head is tilted back a bit. So perhaps that's just throwing me out, because we all look at it in different ways, don't we? Anyway, let me know how you got on, guys. I got to pop out when I finish doing this, so I won't be able to answer the replies for a while. But I'll speak to you again on Saturday, and good luck, everyone.